o'clock, we shall start the prayer.
Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje, 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 Unmatta Natana Tandavam, Matte Bhavadana Bhasuram, Chittabja Bodha Bhaskaram, आयत्तयोगराजितं विद्वेषनित्यपूजितं उत्तानपाणिमुद्रितं श्रीकृत्तिवाससुतं कैलासदृशदिनर्तनं भक्तान्तरङ्गवर्तनं पापौघपाशकर्तनं श्रीपार्वतीसुतं भजे Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje, Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje, Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje, Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje. Lambodarangatandavam Mudrakarabja Panditam Sarvanganagamandhanam Vande Vinayakam Patim. धिं धिम्मितकिटमर्दलं भं भं निनादशङ्खकम् आनन्दनृत्यतत्परं ध्यायामि प्रमथनायकम् आमोदकरमोदकं वेदान्तमतिमादकं दुष्कर्मफलसाधकं विघ्नेश्वरं गुरुं भजे Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje, Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje, Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje, Shri Datta Ganapatim Bhaje. Srishti Sthiti Laya Karanam, Mokshakhya Daitya Maranam, Sansara Jaladhe Taranam, Staumi Prabhu Naravaranam. पञ्चास्यमादिदैवतं देवऋषिभिः समर्चितं आलोकगलितसञ्चितं विघ्नाधिनाथमाश्रये श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे लोकैकपरमवैभवं लोकेश्वरादिसम्भवम् आलोकपरिहृतोद्भवम् आलोकये परं भवम् श्रीकृष्णकविनिवेदितैः श्लोकाख्यमोदकैरिमैः आनन्दगणपतिं पतिम् आराधयन्तु साधकाः श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे 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 श्रीदत्तगणपतिं भजे
परब्रह्मसमारम्भाम् श्रीदत्तात्रेयमध्यमाम् श्रीदत्तस्वामिपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् सर्वविश्वन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोलवेदशास्त्रायते ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि माम् विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष माम् पाहि मां दत्त रक्ष मां दत्त
Sashtanga Namaskaram, Swami. Swami, today Professor Nikhil ji is joining after some time. May I meanwhile read the question and answers?
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I will share the screen. I think the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So these are the questions asked by Ms. Trilokya on 15th March 2025 about how God Krishna is celebrated. Series of the questions we have been reading. Today we continue from 9th question. When God says to a devotee that the devotee is one with God or the master to God, how can it encourage the soul? The extended question is here. Swami, you told that when God says to a devotee that the devotee is one with God or the master to God, it would give them full satisfaction, leading to a resting break in their spiritual journey. How can it encourage them to put further efforts for salvation, since the devotee has already attained the highest fruit according to the statement given by God? Swami replied, God will reveal the truth after the temporary rest of the soul is over. This revealed truth will make the spiritual aspirant to proceed on the further spiritual journey. The entire truth shall not be revealed in the beginning itself when the soul starts the practical spiritual journey. When you are traveling to Kashi by walk along with your Guru, the Guru says that Kashi is almost arrived at every stage to encourage your journey. At every step, the ultimate goal is said to be the achieved fruit. It is said that if you remember the name of River Ganga, you will achieve salvation. Actually, salvation is obtained when you go to Kashi, take bath in Ganga for freshness, hear the spiritual knowledge from the scholars of Kashi, and practice Karma Yoga, such spiritual knowledge. But the spiritual guide says that you have attained salvation at the end of every step to give you some break in the spiritual effort. After some rest resulting from full satisfaction, the Guru will reveal the next step and initiate you for the further journey towards the next step. This is called as Arthavada. The next question: is Krishna just reciprocating the devotion of each devotee without inherent love for the devotee? Here is the extended question. After listening to your explanation about how God Krishna rewarded all the Gopikas by satisfying them with his unreal forms, it feels like God is just a justice delivery machine, since he is just reciprocating the devotion of each devotee without having inherent love for the devotee. Please enlighten me. Swami replied, if God delivers only love, you will criticize him as unjust. If God delivers justice, you will criticize him as a machine without loving her. God balances both due to his omniscience and omnipotence. No soul can do like that. Due to this reason, the souls are jealous of God and pass such meaningless comments. Both justice and love are very important. For the sake of love, justice cannot be sacrificed. Ravana loved God to the climax level by cutting all his 10 heads to offer to God Shiva. Such love is impossible in any devotee. Because of such extreme love, God Shiva did not give long longevity to Ravana. The devotee of God Shiva will always get good longevity and never gets untimely death. That is called Akala Mrityu. God Shiva is famous for this special boon. But God Shiva gave untimely death to Ravana and to almost all his family members, since justice was with Rama and injustice was with Ravana. God never allows even a hair crack to justice. He always protects the devotee for the extreme devotion or love of the devotee without damaging the deity of justice at any place and at any time. If there is no way to protect love or devotion without damaging justice, God will bend to the side of protection of justice only. If there is a way to protect both, he will certainly choose that way only to protect both love and justice. But as far as possible, he protects the devotion without damaging justice using his unimaginable intelligence that creates a special way. If both justice and love compete with each other with equal forces, the final way for God is to take the punishment of the sin of the devotee and suffer for the sake of the devotee. This provision is written by God Himself in His divine constitution. In this way, He protects both justice and love to the devotee. Such is the omniscience of God. But for such action, the devotee shall be very much deserving, unlike Ravana. When the devotee is deserving like Banasura, God Shiva came to the war on the side of Banasura to fight with Krishna and finally protected the life of Banasura. Banasura was not undeserving since he had good qualities along with a single bad quality, that is ego. The next question. Some devotees fail loving God Krishna even though they try their level best. Please enlighten us. The extended question is, Swami, some devotees will be failing to love God Krishna even though they try their level best. They like to worship God Shiva and love his spotless, straightforward personality. They still find it very difficult to worship God Krishna since he can do anything and he can say anything based on his will and wish. They feel that he misuses his omnipotence to correlate his contradicting statements and contradicting actions that were said and done based on different situations. And he can even break his own promise. They feel that it becomes very difficult to trust God Krishna. Please enlighten us. Swami replied, all this question is the climax of ignorance, which is like the darkness of Amavasya night. Do you know why God Krishna is not counted in the 10 incarnations? That is, Balarama is taken in the place of Krishna out of the 10 incarnations. Why God Krishna is not counted in the 10 incarnations of Vishnu? It is because Krishna is taken as God Vishnu directly with complete fullness. God Krishna is God Vishnu himself. God Krishna is called Paripurna Tama Avatara, which means that he is the most completest incarnation. You can see the topmost superlatives used here. Paripurna Tama Avatara, most completest incarnation. If Krishna is not understood, all the intelligence created by God in this world must be thrown into Bay of Bengal. Your reason is that Krishna did romance with several gopikas and Shiva never did such romance with other ladies. But the secondary scripture, that is Puranam, says that God Shiva in complete naked form did romantic activities in Daruka forest with the wives of sages, and for that he was cursed by the sages that his male sexual organ shall fall down, which is worshipped as lingam since then. And Swamiji is giving reference here, Shiva Puranam, Linga Puranam, Brahma Puranam, and Vamana Puranam, etc. In fact, seeing the beauty of Lord Shiva, the wives of sages embraced God Shiva. The sages should have cursed their wives, but cursed God Shiva, and this shows that they have blind fascination for their wives, which is called as Dareshana. The argument of the sages here is that God Shiva should not have come as naked, and therefore the root cause of the sin is with God Shiva only. But God Shiva tested the control of senses of the wives of sages, having highest power of dedication to husbands, which is called as Pativratya Dharma. In this test, not only the wives of the sages, but also the sages failed. In this test, God Shiva went in the form of the beggar with divine beauty. Neither the wives of sages nor the sages know that he is Lord Shiva. Still, the wives of sages were attracted by his beauty and embraced him, not knowing that he is God. Hence, this test cannot be treated as test for spouse, because the knowledge that the beggar is God is absent, unlike the case of Gopikas. Hence, sages should have cursed their wives also along with the beggar. Therefore, both that are sages and wives of sages, both failed in this test. Now, what do you say about God Shiva? You have to understand the divine background technology through correct spiritual knowledge. Due to the absence of the light of spiritual knowledge in the darkness of ignorance, you are totally confused, just like a person traveling in darkness gets confused in his walking. You will get a perfect reply for all this confusion from the Veda. The Veda says, Indro Maya Abhipururupa Iyate. I will translate this word by word. Indraha means God. Mayabhihi, that is, with the help of his inherent powers of omnipotence. Pururupaha creates different unreal forms with their individual souls. These forms exist in the world as different living beings, and he, that is, real Krishna with God component and human being component, can create his own forms that are unreal Krishnas or unreal human being components having no God component, also in similar way. And iyate is there. Iyate is the verbal form in this statement. Indro Mayabhi Pururupa iyate. Indraha is explained and Mayabhi is explained. Pururupa is also explained. Now iyate. What is iyate? Such God comes into this world as human form, also like Rama, Krishna, Shankara, etc. The sages were very, very strong devotees of God Shiva, and God Shiva wanted to test their spouse bond, that is one of the three strongest worldly bonds. For this purpose, God Shiva sent his unreal form, that is Maya Rupam, created by himself. The sages not only failed in the test, but also cursed Lord Shiva in return. The lingam of Shiva fell down due to the curse. Here, the curse is also obliged by Lord Shiva because those sages were his devotees. Also, it is the lingam of the unreal form of Shiva. Can any curse touch the Supreme Lord Shiva? Hence, Shiva himself is not involved in this incident in any way. Shiva is with either Sati or Parvati, who is his own power, and there is no dualism here. Therefore, God Shiva cannot be told having only one wife, because he and his wife are one and the same. That means possessor of power and power are one and the same without dualism. You may question that since God is anyhow unimaginable, every mediated form of God is unreal only. Of course, every every form is unreal, being part of this unreal creation from the viewpoint of God. But if God merges with that unreal form, it becomes a real form, that is incarnation. When God is with his own power, that is, his personified as his wife, he exists in his real form only. When God is with other devoted females that are unreal souls, his unreal created form alone exists, in which he, that is God component, did not merge. This secret setup not only provides devotional justice to the deserving souls in the creation, but also protects the celibacy and purity of God. Hence, Shiva can be told as absolute celibate, that is Askhalita Brahmachari, and not even married with one wife only, which is called as Eka Patni Vratam. Real Shiva means energetic form containing God component, and unreal Shiva means only created energetic being without God component. Coming to Krishna, the unreal forms of real Krishna created by himself were dancing with Gopikas in a round circle. Shabiji is quoting here from Jayadeva's Ashtapadis. Angana, Mangana, Mantare.
Krishna Karnamrita.
Sorry. Krishna Karnamatam. Krishna Karnamatam. Angana, Mangana, Mantare, Madhavo. Madhavam, Madhavam, Chantare, Nangana. So Swamiji explaining here, at the center, the real Krishna stood with his own real form called Radha. Radha is the incarnation of Shiva. Shiva is Vishnu. As said in Veda, Shivascha Narayana. Hence, Radha is Krishna. Similarly, when sage Narada came and tested Krishna, real Krishna was only with Rukmini. Who is Rukmini? Rukmini is Lakshmi, who is the own power of Vishnu, and there is no difference between power and possessor of power. In all the other 16,107 houses, the unreal forms of created by himself existed at the same time. Hence, Radha and Rukmini were his real forms, and there is no dualism here. Therefore, Krishna is also a pure celibate like Shiva. By the analysis of the above two cases, it is established that God is only one and real, and he alone is present. Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma, as said by Veda. In both cases, God conducted the test of devotion for devotees to give them salvation. One has to leave the college to join a job. Swamiji is giving example here. One has to leave the college to join a job. Similarly, one has to get salvation from all the worldly bonds, that salvation is nothing but moksha, to get permanent association with God, which is called as yoga. One has to pass all the examinations to graduate from college. Similarly, one has to pass all the tests of God by voting for God against all the strongest worldly bonds. Bond with spouse, that is called as Dareshana, is one of the three strongest bonds apart from bonds with wealth, that is called as Dhaneshana, and children, that is called as Putreshana. Preaching the spiritual knowledge and conducting tests are the two main duties of God in the case of Nivritti devotees. God does not conduct such tests to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Even the highest sages failed in these tests, unable to overcome the fascination for their worldly bonds, especially in the joint bond of child and wealth. So that is Dhaneshana and Putreshana. These two are the joint test. Rarely one in a million souls passes all the tests of God and reaches God permanently, as said in Veda, Kaschid Dhiraha Prityagatmana Maikshat. You cannot find fault with a professor that he is very strict while conducting exams. In fact, the professor becomes faulty when he does not conduct the exams strictly. When the examination is tough, its reward is also very high. Attaining permanent association with God is the highest fruit in this creation, for which salvation from all the worldly bonds is inevitable. Do not see nivritti or spiritual life by wearing the spectacles of worldly justice, because God is involved in nivritti, who is much, much greater than justice. Justice got the highest value in worldly life or pravritti, because God likes justice and protects justice. If you do not understand the purity of God and purity in the path of nivritti, the path of nivritti is not for you. Follow the worldly justice and be happy with justified worldly bonds. God will bless you and protect you also, because God likes justice. The duty of God is to preach the devotees and uplift them to the highest position of God. Wonderful point. In this duty, God has to say several encouraging statements, which are called as arthavadas or beneficial lies. You can recall yesterday there is a short video released on arthavada. So in this duty, God has to say several encouraging statements to motivate them. These statements are basically unreal, but this reality is always hidden for the sake of development of the devotees. Providing this devotional justice to the souls is also the duty of God only. For example, a professor says that his students are his real family, so that the students are encouraged to put much more efforts to hear the professor with more attention. Based on that statement, that the students are family members of the professor, which is said by the professor, you cannot mix the professional life of the professor with his family life. In fact, the family life of God is also not a real dualistic family life. Swamiji is explaining, when they say family, then automatically dualism has come. In fact, the family life of God is also not a real dualistic family life, because God maintains the monism here also, since his partner is also a part of him only. This is the reason why God Brahma told that Krishna is the real celibate in this creation. Why did he not say that the real celibate is God Rama? If he mentions God Rama, there is no surprise in you, and you will think that Rama is celibate and Krishna is not. If he proves God Krishna as celibate, you yourself will conclude Rama also as a celibate. When Dronacharya's son, who is called as Ashwathama, released an arrow from his bow with a will that it should kill all the children of Pandavas, Lord Krishna vowed to save the unborn child in Uttara's, Uttara is Abhimanyu's wife, in Uttara's womb. Lord Krishna declared, if there is any truth in the fact that I am an absolute celibate, that I am Askhalita Brahmachari, may Uttara's child be saved from the wrath of Ashwathama. These are the words spoken by Lord Krishna. The child was indeed saved, who grew up to become King Parikshit. The moment he was born, he was looking for that wonderful, divine, radiant form that he has seen in the womb of his mother. Paritaha Ikshati. He was looking around, where is that wonderful divine form? Where is that? He was searching. That is why he was named as Parikshit. Continuing, this incident is a practical proof that Lord Krishna is a real celibate. If the background of divine secret technology of Krishna is revealed, you will clearly understand that Rama or Shiva or any form of God is a real celibate only. The secret is that Sita, that is Lakshmi, the own power of God Vishnu or God Rama, and Hanuman, that is incarnation of God Shiva, are the real forms of God Rama. Similarly, Rukmini and Radha are the the real forms of God, Krishna. God is deriving enjoyment from his own real forms, which are himself only, and such state is the real celibacy as told in the Gita. Yastvatma ratireva syat attriptascha manavah. Regarding the breakage of promises also, the same duty of God to preach the disciples continues. Just like he uses arthavadas, that are beneficial, meritorious lies, for the sake of preaching, he uses so many other methods to reform the disciples, to lead them to forward progress. Bhishma foolishly made a promise that whoever sits on the throne of Hastinapuram will be protected by him. This is an unjust promise, because he should not protect if unjust people sit on the throne. His promise itself was wrong. Another foolish thing is that he does not want to break his promise lifelong, whatever may come. Both these are wrong, because there is a possibility of protecting injustice by Bhishma in case both these promises are followed. Dhritarashtra, who is extremely fascinated to his unjust son, is already wrong. His son, Duryodhana, the future emperor, is doubly wrong. Under these circumstances, is it not a terrible blunder of Bhishma to support the side of injustice, bound by his foolish promise? Krishna wanted to teach Bhishma about his mistake and wanted him to correct his mistake immediately. Hence, Krishna also made a foolish promise that he will not take up any weapon to participate in the war, although Arjuna requested Krishna to help them in the war. In such case, is it not foolishness to help Arjuna without taking a weapon into the hand? Krishna wantedly did this for the sake of the lesson to be given to Bhishma, that if the promise he is foolish, it can be broken. So Krishna broke the promise and took the wheel as a weapon to kill Bhishma. By this, Bhishma realized his mistake and immediately told the secret of his death to Dharmaraja, who came along with Krishna at that night. Hence, we should not mistake God due to our foolish ignorance and find fault with him at any stage, even if he appears to have done injustice, because deep analysis will reveal that God, being the protector of justice, will never break justice. That completes the answer. Next question is, please delete the above mentioned incident about God Shiva. Swami, please delete the above mentioned incident about God Shiva because it will create pain and shock in the hearts of sincere devotees of God Shiva. The purpose of this question by Mr. Elokya is, so far in any documented text, this episode was not clearly focused. That is why she is requesting Swami to delete this episode. Swami replied, this story is well presented in the secondary scriptures that are Puranams. This is already propagated by several scholars through their spiritual preachings. Is it possible to hide it? All the divine forms of God are like different statues prepared from the same common mud called Parabrahman or unimaginable God. If one statue breaks due to the defect in the mud, all the statues will break in course of time. It is the defect of the material with which the statue is made, and it is not the defect of the shape of the statue. Shapes may be different, but the constituting material is one and the same. If the statue of Shiva is made of black clay, and if the statue of Krishna is made with sandy earth, the statue of Shiva will not break and the statue of Krishna will break. But such assumption is totally wrong. All are the divine forms of the same unimaginable God. The possessor of the material is one and the same. The same possessor is mediated in different dresses. That dress, that is medium, cannot bring any change in the quality of the material, which is the basic unimaginable God. In the Mahabharatam, there is a story that Arjuna found the same flowers on the feet of God Shiva that were placed on the feet of God Krishna. Arjuna realized that Krishna and Shiva are the same one and God. That Swami has written this in a bhajana also. When Krishna created unreal Krishnas for the sake of the Gopikas, the unreal Krishna contained the gross body, the subtle body, the causal body, along with the individual soul and four internal instruments that are called as antahkaranams. Any human being created in this world also contains these components. What are the components? Gross body, subtle body, causal body, individual soul, and antahkaranams. The form of real Krishna present with Radha or Rukmini also contains the same above said components. Again, gross body, subtle body, causal body, and individual soul along with antahkaranams. There is no difference. Along with these components, the God component exists in merged state as the extra item in the case of real Krishna. If Krishna is with Rukmini and Radha simultaneously, two real Krishnas also can exist simultaneously. This means that real Krishna can multiply himself or can create unreal Krishnas by his omnipotent power. Anything is possible for omnipotent God. When God Datta performed a similar miracle through this Datta Swami, the original real Datta Swami with God component was present in his house at Narsaraopet. On the same day and at the same time, Datta Swami without God component, that is created unreal forms, existed. Swami is giving where and all he existed simultaneously, same time. A. In the anniversary function of Krishnaveni College at Narsaraopet. B. Existed in Guntur teaching MSET in Gurukul College. C. Existed in Ajay's house conducting Satsanga. D. Existed in Dadar railway station, Mumbai, talking with the staff of IT department for about 10 minutes. Hence, it is possible for the omnipotent God, number one, to exist as real forms in all places, or number two, exist as only one real form at one place while existing as unreal forms simultaneously in many other places. The choice is selected by God as per the needed context. This episode was recorded in Mahima Yamuna. We can refer to that for more details. When Krishna was with Radha and Rukmini simultaneously, the first choice was selected. When Krishna danced with Gopikas, the second choice was selected. The second choice was creating the illusory forms. When Shiva tested the sages about their fascination for spouse, the second choice was selected. The reason in these two cases is that God is always maintaining himself as the perfect absolute celibate, which is told in the Veda that absolutely real God always is only one remaining, always alone. And Veda says, Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma Neha Nanasti Kinchana, which means that God always remains as one and there is no real multiplicity around him at any cost. This means that God is not contaminated by any creation, unlike the soul, which gets polluted by the surrounding imaginary atmosphere created by itself. God protects himself with his inherent power of omnipotence, that is called Maya, not for the sake of satisfaction of souls to get certificates from them, but for the satisfaction of his own consciousness. God doesn't need our certificates. Since the technology of Maya is not understood by souls, God cannot be viewed as the purest by ordinary ignorant souls. The original God can appear simultaneously as two real forms at two places if two deserving devotees are doing severe penance to get the spiritual knowledge from him. As per the need, the power can be modified in any number of angels. That completes the answer given by Swamiji to the question raised by Strailokya. Yeah. We'll continue with other set of questions dated April 21st, 2025. This question was asked by Shri Durga Prasad ji. Swami, can you please give us a set of commands for the path of pravritti? The extended question is, Pada Namaskaram Swami, you have nicely summarized your entire philosophy in Datta Swami Trisutra Matam. Some couple of years back, Durga Prasad ji asked Swamiji to explain the essence of his philosophy in one word, but Swamiji told that I will give 3 words that explains the entire his philosophy. However, this topic can be shared with only those who are in the path of nivritti. Can you please give us a set of commandments of Datta Swami for the path of pravritti that we can share to anyone? More simplified explanation he was asking. Swami replied, don't harm or even hurt a good fellow who is especially a devotee of God. An atheist hurting God will be excused by God because he is ignorant without spiritual knowledge. A devotee will never hurt God since he has spiritual knowledge and devotion. If an atheist hurts a devotee, then also he is excused by God since he is ignorant of both God and devotee. But a devotee knows the value of both God and devotee. Hence, a devotee shall never hurt or harm any another devotee. This cannot be excused by God. Even devotees are very much affected by ego and jealousy. The fire of jealousy attacks another devotee in the beginning. Slowly, that fire of jealousy will attack even God in human form. Controlling ego and jealousy will help any soul in both worldly life, that is pravritti, as well as in pravritti, as well as in spiritual life, that is nivritti. One shall do all the necessary duties to his family members, since such soul has entered the life of a householder and not the life of a saint. However, one can do all the worldly duties without fascination to the family and with fascination to God alone. By this, one enters the theoretical phase of nivritti. Slowly, as the children settle, one can enter the practical karma yoga of nivritti, which is the practical proof of your true love of theoretical phase of nivritti. This is the real sainthood, which is not merely wearing the orange dress. Don't think that by doing karma yoga, the wealth of your children gets reduced, because such practical service and sacrifice to God will certainly grow the wealth of your children to climax state or to such state above, which your children will be spoiled by the wealth wine. that completes the answer given by Swamiji. Swami, Professor Nikhil ji is available now. May I
Yes.
start here?
Okay.
Sastang Namaskaram, sir.
Namaste.
Pada Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaste.
I'm sorry I got delayed, Swamiji.
Sorry.
So with salutations at the lotus feet of Swamiji, I would like to start the Shri Radha Krishna Gita, continuation of the 10th chapter. The 10th chapter is called Kama Prema Bheda Vichara Yogaha, the association of the inquiry about the difference between lust and love. I offer this dedication at the lotus feet of Swamiji. From you alone is all knowledge sublime, and everything that's great and fine. All the ignorance and error are but mine, for I am just a soul, and you, the goal divine. Trusting your compassion benign, my errant service I yet consign to those holy lotus feet of thine, Shri Datta Swami, my Sadguru trine. So last time we had covered up to the 34th verse, and we'll continue from there, from the next verse, that is the 35th verse. Akshipanti kaminam mam mudha mama drushi sthitam ichha matram jagat sarvam tepi metra vinodadaha. Swami said, instead of realizing that God is helping lustful devotees, causing their reformation and spiritual upliftment, ignorant fools criticize me as a monger of romance with females. In my view, this entire world is just my imagination and my will only. Therefore, all these ignorant critics too are only giving me a variety of entertainment. So Swami is referring to his status as the creator of this entire creation, as one who is totally beyond this entire creation, with whose mere wish this entire creation has been manifested. That God in human form, when he enacts a drama, it is only for the benefit of souls. This particular drama of the Rasa Leela, and in subsequent incarnations, similar divine dramas in which God appears to be romantically involved with some female devotees, all these are only meant for the reformation and spiritual upliftment of human beings, of the souls involved, those female devotees. Reformation refers to a person who is in dushpravrutti getting restored to the path of justice, that is pravrutti, from the sinful path to the path of worldly justice, that is reformation. Spiritual upliftment particularly refers to a person who is in the worldly path of justice, a person who is established in pravrutti dharma, wanting to reach higher, wanting to make God as his or her goal by following the path of nivrutti, that is the path of spiritual upliftment. So God enables both. The first one is an extreme necessity, because a soul who is in dushpravrutti is certainly going to hell. It is unavoidable, because in the Shastras it is said, Avashyam anubhoktavyam krutam karma shubhashubham na bhuktam kshiyate papam kalpakoti shatairapi. It is said that whatever deeds you have done, it is mandatory, it is absolutely compulsory for you to get the fruit of your deeds. If you have done good deeds, it is mandatory for you to enjoy those good fruits, the corresponding good fruits. If you have done bad deeds, it is mandatory for you to bear those bad fruits. Bad fruits are essentially punishments in hell, following which you will be born in inferior births. It is said, Kapuya Yonim. You will be born in these inferior births in future life cycles. So, extremely bad consequences are inevitable if you have done bad deeds. To reform a soul from this path of sinful life, which is essentially like an eternal hell, because the soul will perform bad deeds here in this precious human birth, that soul will waste human life, which is obtained after so much of effort, such a rare opportunity, rarer than the rarest opportunity of human birth has been given by God, but this soul has spoiled that entire opportunity by pursuing a sinful life. Shankaracharya, in fact, in Viveka Chudamani says that such a person who has obtained a human birth and who has known a little bit about, at least a little bit about spiritual life, if such a person runs after materialistic desires and especially sinful materialistic desires, that person is indeed committing suicide. Not the suicide of one life, but it is a suicide or ending of all future lives, in a sense. Because the soul faces eternal hell. How eternal hell? The result of sinful actions, if they are intense enough, may be experienced here itself. Here itself, in this birth as a human being, God may punish you in the form of sending you to jail, in the form of having an accident, in the form of getting ill, in the form of losing some loved ones prematurely. So you face hell in the present human life. Certainly you face hell in the afterlife. Then you are reborn, and you are not reborn as a human being because you have already proved that you are not worthy of a human life. So you will be born as some low animal or a worm or an insect to be crushed under somebody's feet, to suffer in pain again and again. So that pain and suffering will continue birth after birth. You will go into these endless animal-like cycles, demonic cycles of life. So that is eternal hell. It is not that the hell, which is an energetic world, will last forever for you. You will not remain in that hell for a very long time. You will be reborn, but you will be reborn as an animal, as a wild creature, or as a demon, and that life is as good as hell. So eternal hell is assured for the person who follows a sinful life, and therefore reforming such a person is a dire necessity. For God, it is the highest priority, because God has nothing to gain by himself. He has already attained everything. Nanavaptam avaptavyam, says Lord Krishna. There is nothing worth attaining that I have not already attained. So he has nothing to achieve on earth other than uplifting human beings like us, poor pathetic creatures who are lost in this samsara sagara. He has come to rescue us. The first step, first priority is he will restore us to the path of pravrutti. From the path of dushpravrutti, which is sinful life, he will restore us, he will uplift us to pravrutti. Having done that, we have an option. The option is, you can live in pravrutti and be happy, or you can try for something higher. It is like saying that every student should minimum get a graduate degree. A bachelor's degree is a minimum requirement. Whether you should get a master's degree and a PhD, that is left to you. But nowadays, in present times, if you do not even have a graduate degree, nobody will give you a job. Gone are the days when people used to get some low-level government job, even if you pass your 10th standard or your 12th standard. Nowadays, with that those qualifications, you will not get a single job. So a minimum graduate degree is necessary. Beyond that, we are not forcing you. If you want to study more, you want to go for higher studies, that is your choice. If you don't want to do it, that is also your choice. Yathechasi tatha kuru. So Lord is, when Lord Krishna was dancing with the Gopikas, he is demonstrating what activity or what divine mission he is on. He is on the divine mission, and in future incarnations also, because since the time of Lord Krishna, many divine incarnations have come to earth. So he was giving a demonstration of what he will do in the future incarnations also. So his task is to uplift people from dushpravrutti to pravrutti, and then optionally from pravrutti to nivrutti. His actions should not be misinterpreted as romantic activities. There is no romance in it. There might be romance in the minds of those female devotees. They might have lustful thoughts, but he has no lustful thoughts because he is the creator of this entire universe. Swamiji has said many times, by his mere wish, he can create beauty of unimaginable proportions. Swami was saying, these apsaras like Urvashi or Tilottama, we cannot even imagine that kind of beauty. An ordinary human being, if we see these beautiful apsaras, we'll literally faint. Such is the beauty that God has created with just a blink of an eye. He has created such beauties. So for him, if he really were a lustful personality, he's not a lustful personality, but suppose, let's say, if he were a lustful personality, he could create any form that he wants. But he never did that. In fact, his policy is that he does not engage in any romantic activity with any of his creations. Even that Apsara would be his creation. He does not engage in any lustful activity with any of his creations. Then, does he not have any romantic partner? No, he has romantic partners. But then who are those romantic partners? They are incarnations of his own divine power, his own Mahamaya. They are incarnations of his own power. So they are not his creations, because his creation could be understood to be although not in a literal sense, but in a conceptual sense, his creation could be understood to be his child, to be his son or daughter. Anything that is created from him, he is the divine father, aham bija pradav pita, as told by him in the Bhagavad Gita. Any of his creations could be understood to be his child, even though it is not a child in the sense of a human being having a child bearing the same DNA and all that. But in a conceptual sense, his creation becomes his child. And he does not, as a policy, he does not involve in any romantic activity with any of his creations, including these apsaras. Although they are so beautiful, but he's not impressed by that beauty, because these greatest of the apsaras are not even a speck of dust before his own beauty. In the monsoon has started, you have these hailstorms, and one hailstone, a small bit of ice. For a child, it seems very beautiful, very exciting. But what is the level of that small hailstone And what is the level of Mount Kailas? What is the grandeur of Mount Kailas? There is ice here, there is ice there. But is there any comparison between the two? So likewise, the most beautiful apsaras, they are mere hailstones. And the beauty of Lord, be it Lord Shiva, be it Lord Vishnu, it is unimaginable beauty. So he is not really impressed. Just as we feel very attracted to maybe a supermodel, a film star. But in the filmy world, even the heroes who look at that beautiful model, they themselves are very handsome. So they're not very impressed by it, because all the actors around them are quite beautiful. In the case of God, it is an extreme difference. His beauty is incomparable. So it is utter foolishness to think that Lord Krishna was having a romantic affair with some gopika. Utterly foolish. Or that for any female devotee to think that the Lord in human form in my generation is attracted to me, is attracted by my beauty. He is interested in me. He also loves me in the way I love him. Oh, he loves you, definitely, no doubt. If there is anyone who loves you perfectly, in the purest way, that is God. But not in a lustful way, not in a romantic way. His love is extreme. Even your mother or your father doesn't love you as much. That is his love. But it is not in a romantic way. So this is the concept that we should understand. Moving ahead. Gopya Katyayani Puja Snanasthasta Digambaraha Kanya Mamvaramicchantyo Dharmabhange Prabodhitaha. Swami says, some unmarried gopikas were performing the worship of goddess Katyayani Devi with the desire to get me as their husband. They went to River Yamunā and were taking a bath in the water naked. The ethical scripture says that one should not take a bath naked in the open. One should wrap the body with a towel. I preached to them about this justified tradition. In the Bhagavata Puranam, it is said that there were some gopikas who worshipped Lord Krishna, worshipped goddess Katyayani. They did Katyayani Vratam to get Krishna as their husband. These were the younger gopikas, the younger unmarried gopikas. And Lord Krishna was a teenager, and we all know how handsome he was. But it is not just his physical beauty, because these gopikas, they were not ordinary lustful women. They were sages who had done so much penance. They were also young. Krishna was also young. So it was natural for them to aspire for getting him as their husband. But their attraction to him was not lustful. Externally, it appears to be so, that because they were playing a certain role, they were supposed to act in that way. So it does appear as if they had a romantic interest in him. And they prayed to him. They prayed to goddess Katyayani to have him as their husband. So during that time, all these young women, they were having a bath naked in the water. Now, in olden days, there were not bathrooms and with doors and bolts on the door. So the ethical scripture says that one should not have a bath naked. It is common sense also. Whatever is told in the scriptures is also, it has a lot of meaning if you see it in the context when it was given. So it is clearly told that you should not have a bath naked, but they were having a bath naked. So Lord Krishna took that as an opportunity to give them a lesson, not only about pravritti, but also nivritti. And we will see how. So he reminded them about the scriptural injunction, the scriptural rule that you should not have a bath out in the open naked. You should cover yourself and have a bath. In fact, why women, even men, when they have a bath in the river, we go to holy places, we go to Kashi, Haridwar, Rishikesh, where there are these ghats, and people go to the ghats to have a bath. Sometimes it is a holy bath that you take, but the people living there, that is their daily routine. They just go to the river simply to have a bath, not necessarily as part of worship. So you see, even men folk, they do not take a bath naked in the water. They cover themselves and have a bath because it is all in public view. So here's what Lord Krishna did. Maya hrutani vasansi namaskaraya piditaha bodhita dharma shastrancha bhavipatyurnamepyagham. Swami says, so Lord Krishna is saying, they were having a bath naked, and he's saying, so what did he do? He said, I stole their clothes which they had left on the bank of River Yamunā. When they prayed to me to return their clothes, I pressed them to salute to me with both hands raised above their heads. They did so, and I returned their clothes to them. I preached to them about the justified tradition of how to take a bath in the open. So they were having a bath, leaving their clothes on the banks of the river, and Lord Krishna comes over there and he takes away their clothes, goes and sits on top of a tree. And then these gopikas realize that, oh, when their bath is over and they want to come out, they realize that, oh, this Krishna is sitting on the tree. And where are our clothes? They have vanished. So they realize now what has happened. And they are now trapped. Because if they have to come out of the water, they don't have anything to cover themselves. So they beg and plead, Krishna, please give us our clothes. Krishna says, not at all. I'm not going to give you the clothes. You come and take the clothes. So they, after a lot of negotiation, after a lot of failed negotiations, finally they decide to, with a lot of shame, they try to come out, but they are covering with their hands, they cover their private parts. And they try to approach Krishna asking for the clothes. And Krishna says, no, you should. So he basically wants them to realize one lesson in pravritti and another lesson in nivritti. So the first lesson is about pravritti, that they should not have a bath out in the open naked. And so he says that you first raise your hand, you first do a namaskar. Namaskar how? With your hands raised above your heads. So their entire shame is lost. And then he gives them the clothes. So with that, one lesson they learn, which is about the justified tradition. What is the tradition which is based on the scriptures of justice? According to the Dharma Shastras, you should not have a bath naked. So that lesson he delivered to them. And
one more sentence.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, it is written here. We continue, it is written. Okay.
Yes, sir. So then next, Swami says, anyway, I am going to be their husband in the future, since they are worshipping me for that very purpose. Hence, sin cannot touch me. So Swami is giving a clarification there. Just as the illusory Krishnas created by God Krishna were dancing with the married gopikas, only illusory Krishnas would marry these gopikas. So this Katyayani Vratam happened few months ago, or probably a year ago, I'm not so sure. And then the Rasa Leela happened, and during the Rasa Leela, Lord Krishna is telling this Gita to Radha. And Lord Krishna is telling Radha that in future I am going to marry those girls. So I am going to be their future husband because they have prayed for it. They have worshipped goddess Katyayani for getting him as their husband, and God has granted their wish. So in future I am going to become their husband. So if I see them naked, that is not a violation of dharma in any way. So even from a pravrutti point of view, strictly looking at it only from a pravrutti point of view, that also is not a problem because they are going to be the wives of Lord Krishna anyway. Then the question would be that, oh, if he is going to be their husband, then how will he maintain his celibacy? That answer Swamiji is giving over here. Just as the illusory Krishnas created by God Krishna were dancing with the married Gopikas in the Rasa Leela dance, only illusory Krishnas would marry these Gopikas. God Krishna had told the Gopikas that he would marry them. But it was only an Arthavada because he had not revealed the secret of creating illusory Krishnas to anybody. He revealed this secret only to Radha at the time of the Rasa dance in the form of this Gita. So God Krishna seeing the naked bodies of those Gopikas is not a sin from the point of view that God is the creator of the world. So this is a lesson from the Nivrutti point of view. From the Nivrutti point of view, God is the creator of this universe. God is beyond this universe. God is not just the medium. He is not a male medium. He is not a human being. He is the creator of, in fact, we are children of Prakriti. And God is also the creator of this Prakriti. So that is his unimaginable nature. He is the creator of our creator, actually. We can say that Prakriti is our mother. So in that sense, she is our creator, but he is even the creator of Prakriti. So there is no question of any shame from him.
He is the creator of.
Yes, sir.
He is the creator of every atom of every part of the body.
Swami.
Every atom, electron, proton, nucleus, orbits, all those were created by him only.
Correct.
In every part of the body.
Correct.
What is there to hide to hide before him? When he created every minutest particle,
Yes.
he created. And what is the whether they have realized this point or not? God Krishna tested.
Correct. Correct. Beautiful.
Not to see the blue films. Yes, please proceed.
Yes, Swami. So in front of God, that is why in many different statements in different scriptures essentially tell us this. At the end of the Gita, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. That one of the interpretations of that could also be that when you are with God, you leave all these considerations of, for example, if there is the devotee is a female, God is male. There is no male and female. He is God. That's it. One should understand that. So all these limiting concepts can be completely given up in front of God. He is everything.
To establish that,
yes,
to establish that point,
yes,
it is better to tell that God is the creator.
Correct.
then that point will be very firmly established.
Correct. Correct.
What is there to hide before the Creator?
Correct.
That ends the matter,
Correct.
the whole matter.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Next verse. न केवलं धर्मशास्त्रे वेदान्ते च सुबोधिताः तामयी ब्रह्मविश्वासाः ऋषयो हि tapasvinah. Swami says, I not only preached to the bathing gopikas about the ethical scripture, but also clearly preached spiritual knowledge to them. The bathing gopikas, along with all other gopikas, are sacred sages who had done penance in their past several births to attain my grace. These gopikas have recognized me as God with their spiritual power and have undisturbed firm faith that I am God. So these both these lessons were preached by God. The pravrutti lesson, which is that you should cover yourself while bathing, and the nivrutti lesson, which is that he is the creator of this entire universe, every atom in your body, every electron in your body. So where is the shame before him? So both these lessons were taught to the gopikas. And what is to be noted over here is those lessons were relevant to them because they had recognized his divinity. Especially the second lesson, the nivrutti lesson, becomes relevant to them only if they have understood his divinity. If they don't know that this village boy is God himself, if they think that he is just a village boy, then the second lesson, the nivrutti lesson, that he is the creator of the universe, becomes irrelevant. But they were rishis who had attained that particular birth after millions of births of penance, after millions of births dedicated to the path of knowledge and devotion to him. That is why they could, in that birth, they could recognize the divinity of Krishna. They understood that this boy of Nanda and Yashoda is not an ordinary village boy. He is God himself. And therefore, they had developed faith in that. This concept, this understanding, this recognition of Krishna as God, they had developed a lot of faith in him. And that is why that second lesson became relevant to them, was relevant to them, and it was taught to them. So he describes that, particularly that second lesson of Nivrutti. Srushto deha pravruddhascha mayaivākhila jivinam sargasthiti laya brahma karmaniti shrutiritam. The bodies of all souls have been created and grown by me alone. Lord Krishna is saying, I am the one who has created the bodies of all souls, and I am the one who has allowed those bodies to grow. The Veda says that creation, maintenance, and dissolution of this entire world are the three divine actions of God alone. The Veda says that God is that entity from whom this entire world was created, by whom it was created, by whom it is maintained, and by whom it is dissolved. It merges back into him upon its destruction. That is God. And that God, since the entire creation came out of him, it is he who has created all the non-living and living beings, the non-living items of this universe, as well as the living beings. So all living beings and their bodies are created by him. He is their creator. He is the creator not only of those living individuals, but even the inert components of their bodies. So, with this truth, there is no shame in front of God. Srushti kartuh puro lajja jnanam kim brahmanah param adrushtam namaya kim syat paramanurapikshitah. He says, I am the creator of this entire world, and every atom of this world is designed and materialized by me. The body of any soul is a tiny part of this world alone. Hiding the body before me due to shyness is total ignorance. Will such ignorance be the spiritual knowledge of God? Whatever there is in my imaginary world, is it not seen by me? This entire world is his imaginary world. It is not imaginary, by the way, not for us. It is his imaginary world. For him, it is imaginary. It is said imaginary because prior to its creation, it did not exist. It had no existence before he created it. It was non-existent, unreal before its creation. He wished to create, and his wish materialized, meaning creation happened. Out of its prior non-existence, suddenly creation appeared. His wish itself manifested as this creation. Manifesting as this creation means that it obtained a reality. It attained a reality. It did not have reality prior to its creation, but when he wished that creation should now begin to exist, it became real. It means that he granted reality to the creation which was previously unreal. He granted existence to the creation that was previously non-existent. Therefore, it is his imaginary world. Our imaginary world, when we are daydreaming and when we create an imaginary world in our minds, that world really does not have a reality equal to the reality of the world that we see around us. In our waking state, we see a world around us. We see real objects you can touch, they are solid objects. The imaginary world that we create in our mind does not bear that same degree of reality. But that is because we are not omnipotent. We do not have that power to grant reality to our imaginary world. Your imaginary world remains in your brain. I wish to become a millionaire. I wish to manifest a pot of gold in front of me. For the past 10 days, I'm trying. Unfortunately, no gold has appeared. Not even silver. Nothing has appeared. That is because we do not have the power to convert our imagination into reality. We are not omnipotent. We are negligibly potent. Minimally potent. We are alpa shaktiman. God is sarva shaktiman. He is omnipotent. So he wishes something, it just comes into existence. No process is required, as in, no process as in, there are no steps. Like if you want to build a house, first you have to get an approval from the city municipality, and then you have to hire a contractor, purchase bricks, purchase sand, purchase cement, and then you mix the cement with water and all that, and then you construct the house, and then after maybe several months the house will be ready. So right now it is not ready, it is only partially ready. All these problems exist for us. For God, he wishes and creation comes into being. That's all. How it happened, who was the contractor, who was the approval authority? There is no approval authority. He is the authority. Okay, there's no architect other than himself. He is the architect. There is no construction engineer. He is the construction engineer. There is no tedious time process involved in that. When he says, I want a creation, it happens immediately. So we have seen the miracles done by many incarnations. We know in recent times, Shri Satya Sai Baba demonstrated these miracles of materializing objects in front of thousands and lakhs of people. In public view, he created materialized items. That is recorded on videos also. That this is a small micro demonstration of how God created this entire macro universe. Obviously, he cannot give a macro demonstration to us because for that first he'll have to dissolve the entire universe. So we will also get dissolved in that. And then he'll have to create it again. Anyway, he's going to do that at the end of this cycle. He will dissolve everything and he will recreate, but you will not be there to see it, no? So how will he prove to you that I am that God who has created this universe by my mere wish, without any materials and any construction process and all that? How did I make it? He's giving you a demonstration right there and then. Baba will creates in his hands, he just creates a golden watch, a ring, a chain, something like that. Some vibhuti, bhasma. So he gives that demonstration. And why I mentioned Baba, because his miracles of materialization are there on video. They have already been seen and experienced and tested by thousands and lakhs of people. But every incarnation does that. Maybe all incarnations do not do it on camera, but all incarnations perform some miracles or the other for their devotees. And many of us have experienced a variety of miracles from our own Sadguru Swamiji, and Professor Prasad was just explaining one miracle where Swami appeared in multiple places, all verifiable places. Okay, it is not like someone said that Swami was there and Swami was here. No, those people, these are genuine people who can confirm that Swami was there in those multiple places at the same time. So how can that happen? It happens only because it is his imaginary world. He can do anything. He is omnipotent over this creation, which is his mere imagination. And when this creation is his mere imagination, how foolish is it to think that I can cover my body from him? You will cover your body from whom? You are part of his imaginary world. He has manifested your body. He has wished you into existence. Where can you run from him? You cannot hide yourself at all. So it is sheer ignorance to think that you can hide. Next one. Brahmarshayopi gopyangam upadhim prapya vismrutaha upadhisanga phalitaha prajnanamanupādhikam. Even though these gopikas were divine sages and they perfectly knew all the Vedic spiritual knowledge, they forgot all that sacred knowledge once they were born in the bodies of these female gopikas, and they began to possess qualities like shyness. As a result, they became like ignorant souls due to the effect of the female human medium associated with them. The deepest spiritual knowledge shall always be beyond the influence of the associated medium. So Swami has already told us that those gopikas were divine sages and they knew all the Vedic knowledge, Vedic spiritual knowledge. So all these philosophical concepts that we are discussing, that the creation is his imaginary world, he brought this creation from non-existence into existence. All these concepts, these rishis knew everything. In fact, they are the ones who have written all these details in the scriptures, and we learnt it only when they wrote in the scriptures. So they already knew all this knowledge. Then how come they were so ignorant? That is due to the association of the medium. When they were born as those gopikas, they were born in a feminine medium, and the role given to them was ignorant villagers, roles of ignorant villagers. They were not born as great sages. They were not born in the family of sages where they would regain their spiritual knowledge of the past. Had they been born in the family of sages, their parents would have from childhood taught them all the Vedas again, and due to their strong samskara from the previous births, they would have recollected those concepts, those Vedic truths. That would have been a different case. Such births, they had already had millions of such past births. They had excellent knowledge about the Vedas. They had excellent knowledge about all these philosophical concepts, which is why they developed devotion towards God. But in this birth of the Gopikas, God took away that knowledge. The explicit knowledge was taken away. Explicit meaning, in a concrete form, that knowledge was not there in their mind. But the deep impressions of that knowledge on their awareness was definitely there. So the Gopikas externally seemed to be uneducated, illiterate. So if you ask the Gopika, come on, you please recite the Taittiriya Upanishad, Shikshavalli. Please repeat after me. Shiksham Vyakhyāsyāmaha. She will say, what are you saying? I never learnt anything. So then, will you say that she is ignorant? Externally, yes, she appears ignorant because she has not learnt these scriptures. But she is able to recognize Krishna, and even many great Pandits, they don't recognize Krishna. They do not recognize his divinity. They are able to recite the Vedas, but their samskaras of that spiritual knowledge are not deep. They might have become Vedic scholars only in the past few births. These Gopikas were scholars of spiritual knowledge, and that spiritual knowledge had fully been assimilated by them, and it had gotten converted into devotion for millions of births. So there is a huge difference between that Gopika and any ordinary scholar. Although the ordinary scholar has explicit knowledge of the scriptures, maybe that scholar has memorized the entire Veda, but the depth of the samskara is shallow depth. Whereas in the case of the Gopikas, superficially the knowledge is erased, but the depth of samskaras is very deep. So when they see Krishna in human form, they recognize his divinity, they feel so attracted to him. They may not be able to preach philosophy to you, but they understand what you will never understand easily, what the scholar will not understand. And this contrast was seen in the case of Uddhava and the Gopikas. Uddhava was a scholar. Of course, I'm not saying that Uddhava was in an inferior soul. Uddhava was also a very great devotee. But they are all playing their own roles. Uddhava played the role of a scholar who has the ego of his knowledge. His mind is filled with so much of knowledge, and he thinks that he knows. See, it is good to know, but to think that you know is a problem. You may have some knowledge which is obtained by God's grace, by Sadguru's grace. You may have some knowledge, but to have some pride that I have so much knowledge, that should be corrected. And Lord Krishna was trying to do that. He was not trying to insult Uddhava. He was only trying to let Uddhava know that there are such souls in the world who, having the deepest knowledge, do not show it off or do not appear to have possessed that knowledge. Whereas you have some knowledge and you think that you know everything. So these divine sages, they were born in the role of the female gopikas, and they did not have explicit spiritual knowledge, but internally they had very strong samskaras of knowledge and devotion. That is why they were attracted to Krishna. The shyness that they felt before him was the result of their association with the medium, that human medium of a female, of a woman. It comes with its own sense of shyness. So they were feeling shy in front of Krishna. So Swami says here, the deepest spiritual knowledge shall always be beyond the influence of the associated medium. So the samskaras, the deep samskaras, should ideally, in an ideal case, where there is no ignorance, irrespective of that physical medium, whatever medium you have been born, one should be able to go beyond that based on the deep samskaras of spiritual knowledge. And one should be able to reach God, attain God, recognize God, and offer yourself completely to Him. Atmanivedanam. In the ideal case, you should be able to do that to God, irrespective of what medium you are in. Next one. Laukikaः pamara bhrantaः strilolam kathayanti mam sadajnanamasajnanam dve netrarmayugam mahat. These worldly people are ignorant and are trapped in this illusory world. Hence they call me a womanizer. These people have very strong cataracts in both their eyes. One cataract is the ignorance of the true knowledge, and the other cataract is the knowledge of falsity, which means that they believe falsity to be the truth. So ignorant people in the world blame Lord Krishna, calling him a womanizer. It is because they are trapped in this illusory world. This world can be said to be illusory for even the ordinary human being, in the sense that nothing is permanent in it. There is nothing of permanent value in it. In that sense, we can call this world illusory. As such, it is not illusory in the sense that it doesn't exist. It exists. It is as real as you. But the relations that you have in this world, they are temporary. In terms of its intrinsic value, nothing in this world has any lasting value. Only God has lasting value. In that sense, the world is illusory even for us. If we give too much value to money, property, relationships, everything is going to be lost over here the moment you die. Many of the things will be lost even before you die. Your own children, who are the object of your worship for almost half of your life, those children also, is there any guarantee that they are going to be with you till the end of your life? Are they going to look after you in your old age? Is there any guarantee? So anything of this world is, by definition, it is temporary. That is why it is called samsara. So these people, ignorant people, are trapped in this world. They think that this world is permanent, or there is something of lasting value in this world. They give reality to everything, the relations that exist in the world. Such people have no recognition of God. They have no understanding of His divinity, of His being the creator of this universe. They do not realize that the creator of the universe has come in human form, and He is enacting a drama for the benefit and upliftment of souls. They don't understand that. and they treating Krishna to be an ordinary human being, they call him a womanizer. So they are affected by two cataracts. One is the cataract of ignorance of the truth, and the other is the knowledge of falsity. So Shankaracharya expressed that as Ajnana Avaranam. The Avaranam means not knowing the reality. That is the Ajnana Avaranam. And the other is, which he called Vikshepa, the Dehatma Buddhi, treating oneself to be this body. In a similar way, Swamiji is here, he is saying that one cataract is the ignorance of true knowledge. What is the true knowledge? That God is the creator of this entire universe. That God has incarnated in human form as Krishna. And since he is the creator of this entire universe, how can he have any romantic interest in any devotees? He must have come for uplifting them. This is the true knowledge. So they have ignorance about this. And they have knowledge of falsity. What is the falsity? Falsity is to think that Krishna is the son of Yashoda and Nanda, and he is a man, he is a human being, and he is dancing with these women. These women are married. Oh, how could he violate dharma like this? He must be a womanizer. This is false knowledge. So they have ignorance about the truth, and they have knowledge about the falsity. So that is why they have these two cataracts. Due to these two cataracts, they are blaming him. So with that, we come to the end of this chapter. Iti Shri Datta Swami Virachita Shri Radha Krishna Gītāyam Kama Prema Bheda Vichara Yogo Nama Dashamadhyayah. Like this, in the Shri Radha Krishna Gita, composed by Shri Datta Swami, the 10th chapter called The Association of the Enquiry about the Difference between Lust and Love is completed. I offer my salutations at the lotus feet of Swamiji. Pada Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Pada Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
We shall start the Bhakti Gita.
किङ्करोऽस्मि तव शङ्कर नूनं भक्तव शङ्कर पाहि पाहि शिव हिमांशुरेखा मुक्तावळीव जाटजूटमकुटोपरि भाति उष्णीशवस्त्राशेषवदेशा धवला तरला गङ्गाधारा मणिदीधितिमत्कालसर्पकुलमिन्द्रनीलमणिहारचयः किम् ललाटनयनं वह्निविररुणं विभूतिरेखा कुङ्कुमबिम्बम् पिनाकपाणे पाशुपतास्त्रं पार्थाय दिशसि परमोदार मुनिशिशवे त्वं क्षीराब्धिमेव गौरीमेव च दशकण्ठाय किङ्करोऽस्मि तव शङ्कर नूनं भक्तव शङ्कर पाहि पाहि शिव गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि मां विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष मां त्रिमुखानि षट्पाणि कमलानि बिभ्राण श्रुतिसारमेयै समावृत्तपदपद्मा वाणीश लक्ष्मीश गौरीश जगदीश षट्शास्त्र दिव्यास्त्र वेदांत शांतिकर गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि मां विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष मां ज्ञानप्रचारार्थमवतीर्ण नररूप वेदप्रमाणप्रदीप प्रवचनार्थ मन्दहासानन्दनिष्यन्द मधुवृन्द कन्दर्पसन्दोह सौन्दर्यवन्दनम् गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि मां विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष माम् गुरुदत्त स्वयंभुवे श्रीदत्त विष्णवे प्रभुदत्त शंभवे नमो वेदांत विभवे धियां नलिनीनां उदय भानवे श्रितानां साक्षात् कामधेनवे अनसूया प्रिय మధ్యసూనవే వేదశునకావృత చారుజానవే గురుదత్త స్వయంభువే శ్రీదత్త విష్ణవే ప్రభుదత్త శంభవే నమో వేదాంత విభవే. గురురాజరాజరాజం స్తౌమి శ్రీదత్తమహారాజం వేదాంత విషయ జగతి సామ్రాజ్యం పాపిభ్యోపి దయాసుధర్ణవభాజం మందార మకరంద మధుర మందహాసం కుందారవింద కుముద బృందాంశుభాసం తిలకుసుమ సమాయత మనోహర నాసం స్కంద భార్గవ పింగళ నాగాదిదాసం గురురాజరాజరాజం స్తౌమి శ్రీదత్తమహారాజం గురురాజరాజరాజం స్తౌమి శ్రీదత్తమహారాజం గురురాజరాజరాజం స్తౌమి శ్రీదత్తమహారాజం. కాళభైరవ స్వామి త్వమేవ మమ ఖలు రక్షా కాశీపుర రక్షణమిహ కరోషి నయనస్పందైః అర్ధచంద్రాసినైకకరే ఛిన్నమస్తకేన చాపరే కాలాంజనాంబర కాలకాయఛాయాభిః మహాశ్మశాన సంచార విహారా కాళభైరవ స్వామి త్వమేవ మమ ఖలు రక్షా విభూతి మధ్య కుంకుమ బింబ ఫాలేన ఉభయ భుజ వివృత కాలకేశ జాలేన నీలకుసుమ మాలికా వలయ హారేణ ఆకలితోపి కరుణార్ణవత్వాం న భజే కిం కాశీ విశ్వనాథం దత్త మహావతారం అర్ధచంద్రాసినాచ్ఛిన్న మస్తకేన కరద్వయే సంహార భైరవం వందే ప్రహాస వికటస్వరం. కాళభైరవ స్వామి కథమధునా నాయాతి కాశీపురపాలక పాహి కామితార్థం మమ దేహి కాళజటాధర చంద్రకళాధర కాళాగ్నికుండ ఫాలలోచనహర కాళికా హృదయ కమలినీచర కాలదండవలయ భ్రామణకర కాళభైరవ స్వామి కథమధునా నాయాతి కాశీపురపాలక పాహి కామితార్థం మమ దేహి. కామయే కాలాగ్నిశమనం కాలకాలం కరుణాలవాలం కాళభైరవం మాయాజాలం మదిరాలోలం మునిజనపాలం మహాభీకరశూలం పింగళ జటాజూటం పాదోద్ధావితఖేటం గర్జనోజ్వల విస్ఫోటం ప్రస్థాన మహార్భాటం శిరశ్చంద్రఖండం ఫాలగ్నికుండం భ్రామిత కాలదండం కంపమాన జగదండం దేహోద్ధత జ్వాలాచండం క్రోధపిండం భస్మీకృత భువన భాండం కామయే కాలాగ్నిశమనం కాలకాలం కరుణాలవాలం కాళభైరవం కామయే కాలాగ్నిశమనం. ఆకాశాదాగతం శుద్ధం ధర్మదేవీ సముద్ధరం అధర్మకలిదైత్యఘ్నం కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం శ్వేతాశ్వవాహనం నీలం మృగాంకమివ చంద్రగం చెంచద్విజ్జుల్లతాఖడ్గం కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం కలిదూషిత భక్తార్తి ఛేద తామ్రాక్షవీక్షణం దృష్టం కలియుగాంతాయ కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం శంబలక్షేత్ర సంభూతం విప్ర విష్ణు యశస్సుతం మహాయోగేశ్వరం సాక్షాత్ కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం సాధురోదన సంజాత రోషకల్లోల సాగరం చరంతం వసుధాం సర్వాం కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం మహాప్రళయ సంహార మహోదగ్ర పరాక్రమం కర్తుం సత్యయుగారంభం కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం కర్తారమపి భర్తారం హర్తారం జగతాం ప్రభుం
త్రిమూర్తిరూపిణం మూలం కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం దుష్కారనాశకం శూరం భక్తరక్షణదీక్షితం దశావతారమాధారం కల్కిదేవం నమామ్యహం కల్కిదేవాష్టకం కృష్ణ కృతం యః పఠతి క్షణాత్ కలికల్మషకష్టేభ్యః ముక్తో భవతి నిర్భయః. కామేశ్వరి మయి కరుణం కురు భీమేశ్వరంకగత కరభోరు పరబ్రహ్మ సింహాసనాసీనే ఆనందామృత మధురపానే సమస్త జగదంతరలీనే బాలికేవ భువి లీలాయానే హేలయా చాలయసి లోకం లీలయా తారయసి శోకం క్షేముషీ మానయసి పాకం సంపదా ఖేలయసి నాకం కామేశ్వరి మయి కరుణాం కురు భీమేశ్వరాంకగత కరభోరు కనక కింకిణీ క్వణిత చరణే మణిరంజిత మాలాభరణే నాసాంత మాణిక్య స్ఫురణే అరుణాంశు కౌశేయావరణే కాంచీపుర పీఠ విలాసిని విపంచికా క్వణిత సుహాసిని మదకలభధీర గామిని శశాంక శేఖర కామిని కామేశ్వరి మయి కరుణాం కురు భీమేశ్వరాంకగత కరభోరు జగదంబ విలంబిచికురే కంబుగళే బింబాంశునికరే నితంబ సంబాధిత గమనే వ్యాలంబే త్వామంబ శమనే క్వసా కామేశ్వరీ దేవి పరబ్రహ్మాధిష్టాన దేవత చతుర్దశ భువన చక్రాణి లీలయా దృశైవ చాలయంతి శ్రీమత్సింహాసనేశ్వరీ క్వసా కామేశ్వరీ దేవి వాహం తత్పాదరజో రేణూనాం ఏకరేణుకోటికిరణానాం ఏకకిరణాంశ ప్రసాదేన కించిదుజ్జీవిత జ్ఞాని కించిదుత్క్రాంత ప్రవచనః క్వాహం క్వసా కామేశ్వరి మయి కరుణాం కురు భీమేశ్వరాంకగత కరభోరు.
నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
అహో పింగళాక్షాగ్నిజాజ్వల్యమానా స్ఫురన్నాస నిశ్వాస సంహారరంభ జటాపావకజ్వాలికా దీప్యమానా నమో నారసింహ
విధూతస్మదంహ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
మహాక్రోధవహ్ని ఛటా విస్ఫులింగా నఖైర్దంష్ట్రికాభిర్మహాఘోరరూపా మహాగర్జనోగ్రధ్వనిధ్వస్తలోకా నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
హిరణ్యాసుర ప్రాణ నైవేద్యలోలా రమాదైవత ప్రార్థనాక్షేపకోప మహాభక్త బాలస్తుతి ప్రీయమాణ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
పురో మంగళాద్రీశ మధ్యోజ్వలస్య ప్రపన్నార్తి సద్యో విమోక్ష ప్రదాత పరాభక్తి మార్గైక సంసేవ్యమాన నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ నమో నారసింహ విధూతస్మదంహ
నమో నారసింహ
విధూతస్మదంహ नमो नारसिंह विधूतास्मदम्हा
राहुकेतुभ्यां रविशशिग्राहकाभ्यां राक्षसशरीराद्धरागाभ्यां महासर्पमस्तककायाभ्यां महीवलयच्छायाग्रहाभ्यां महामहापराक्रमाभ्यां नमो नमो राहुकेतुभ्यां दुष्कर्मफलदानदूताभ्यां दुर्जनगुणपरिवर्तनदक्षाभ्यां दीनजनार्तिभक्तिदायकाभ्यां नमो नमो राहुकेतुभ्याम् अपसव्यजीवर्धमपसव्यजराभ्यां तमोगुणनाशाय तमोग्रहाभ्याम् असुररूपजनार्थमसुरायिताभ्यां नमो नमो राहुकेतुभ्याम् कयानश्चित्रकेतुं कृण्वन् मन्त्रमन्दिराभ्यां माशपूपकुलुत्थपाकदानप्रशमिताभ्यां भानुवासरनागरूप स्कन्दपूजा प्रियाभ्यां नमो नमो राहुकेतुभ्यां परमपदसोपानमार्गपरीक्षा पन्नगाभ्यां कुटिलकुण्डलिनी वृत्तिभुजगी शासगोरगाभ्यां कष्टप्रदानपरिणतिपरिणाम मोक्षप्रदाभ्यां नमो नमो राहुकेतुभ्यां रविशशिग्रहगाभ्यां राक्षसशरीरार्थभागाभ्यां नमो नमो राहुकेतुभ्यां
नमो नमो गुरुदत्ताय ब्रह्मज्ञानवित्ताय अफलप्रेमोन्मत्ताय करुणारसभरचित्ताय शङ्खचक्र डमरुकशूल कुण्डीमालाधारिणे मनोहारिणे त्रिभुवनसञ्चारिणे कुमतिजनसंहारिणे सह्याचलविहारिणे जगत्कारिणे नमो नमो गुरुदत्ताय ब्रह्मज्ञानवित्ताय अफलप्रेमोन्मत्ताय करुणारसभरचित्ताय सनकसनन्दन सनत्कुमार सनत्सुजाताख्य चतुरागमसारमेयाय तर्कामेयाय मुनिमनोनेयाय परमध्येयाय सुन्दरकायाय योगिनायकाय नमो नमो गुरुदत्ताय ब्रह्मज्ञानवित्ताय अफलप्रेमोन्मत्ताय करुणारसभरचित्ताय जीवोद्धारकाय मायातारकाय धिषणाप्रेरकाय ज्ञानकारकाय दैत्यमारकाय विपन्निवारकाय नमो नमो गुरुदत्ताय ब्रह्मज्ञानवित्ताय अफलप्रेमोन्मत्ताय करुणारसभरचित्ताय नमो नमो गुरुदत्ताय नमो नमो गुरुदत्ताय नमो नमो गुरुदत्ताय पंचगेहिनां भिक्षयाचरं शिरडिसायिनं दत्तमाश्रे अरुणवाससं केशमण्डलं सत्यसायिनं दत्तमाश्रे अभयदायकं सटकधारिणं शिरडिसायिनं दत्तमाश्रे हस्तचालनात् भस्मवर्षिणं सत्यसायिनं दत्तमाश्रये शिरडिवासिनं सिद्धयोगिनं शिरडिसायिनं दत्तमाश्रये पर्तिवासिनं परमपावनं सत्यसायिनं दत्तमाश्रये श्रीदत्तात्रेयं नमाम्यहं श्रीदत्तात्रेयं नमाम्यहं गरुडहंस नन्दिवाहं श्रीदत्तात्रेयं नमाम्यहं ब्रह्मविष्णुशिव मूलाधारं वर्षित वेदान्तामृतधारं कुन्दकुशेशय कुवलयहारं क्षणकृतजम्भासुर संहारं श्रीदत्तात्रेयं नमाम्यहं गरुडहंसा नन्दिवाहं वेदशास्त्र मथनामृतसारं दृशैव तारितघनसंसारं संकल्पाकृति मायाजालं विचित्रलीला विनोदकालं श्रीदत्तात्रेयं नमाम्यहं श्रीदत्तात्रेयं नमाम्यहं श्रीदत्तात्रेयं नमाम्यहम् स्मरामि तं सदा दत्तं ब्रह्मविष्णुं शङ्करं नरावतारं श्यामारुणधवलमिश्रकान्तिं वेदान्तशान्तिं धूतमायाभ्रान्तिं स्मरामि तं सदा दत्तं ब्रह्मविष्णुं शङ्करं नरावतारं बहुजन्म साधनैकसाध्यं वेदाराध्यं कालत्रयावाध्यं श्रितधर्मदेवताधेनुं श्रुतिशुनकव्रतजानुं मुनिमनः कमलभानुं स्मरामि तं सदा दत्तं ब्रह्मविष्णुं शङ्करं नरावतारं स्मरामि तं सदा दत्तं स्मरामि तं सदा दत्तं स्मरामि तं सदा दत्तम् सृजन्तं शासन्तं संहरन्तं जगन्ति सन्ततं चिन्तये श्रीदत्तं तं योगविद्या सच्चसारं बोधयन्तं सच्चदर्शनलालसान् आकर्षयन्तं मानवेभ्यो मानवाकृति प्रवतरन्तम् अष्टसिद्धिभिः रास्तिकत्वं प्रतिष्ठापयन्तं सृजन्तं शासन्तं संहरन्तं जगन्ति सन्ततं चिन्तये श्रीदत्तं तम्
भज भज भास्कर कुल संजातं रामं शार्ङ्ग धनुर्धरमेतं भज भज भास्कर कुल संजातं रामं शार्ङ्ग धनुर्धरमेतं निष्काम भक्ति तपसा कृतं ज्ञानाग्निवचन तेजशातं धर्मस्थापन लक्ष्यमुपेतं साक्षात् नारायण मायातं भज भज भास्कर कुल संजातं रामं शार्ङ्ग धनुर्धरमेतं भज भज भास्कर कुल संजातं रामं शार्ङ्ग धनुर्धरमेतं वाल्मीकिसुकवि कविता गीतं स्वादर्श कथा गङ्गापूतं हनुमद्भुज पीठासननीतं केवल सायक दशमुखपातं भज भज भास्कर कुल संजातं रामं शार्ङ्ग धनुर्धरमेतं भज भज भास्कर कुल संजातं रामं शार्ङ्ग धनुर्धरमेतं पट्टाभिषेक सुरसमवेतं वामा सचराचरसूत्रप्रोक्तं भज भज भास्कर कुलसञ्जातं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं भज भज भास्कर कुलसञ्जातं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं रामं शार्ङ्गधनुर्धरमेतं। भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं मणिकण्ठहारं केरलकुमारं शार्दूलवाहं वर्जितविवाहं शबरीगिरीशं महिषीविनाशं शास्तारमेवं ध्यायामि देवं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं शिव विष्णु तेजः संयोगभाजं संसारपारं श्रुतिवाक्यसारं सोपानमाला मधिरुह्य लीला संकल्पलोकं कलयन्तमेकं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं एकैकवीरं सौन्दर्यमारं योगीन्द्रधीरं हृतभूमिभारं पम्पाविहारं हृदयैकचोरं दत्तावतारं मुनिचित्तचारं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं आलीढकान्तं निःश्रेणिकान्तं वेदान्तशान्तं चिन्मुद्रयान्तम् अनाद्यनन्तं मकरांशुमन्तं ज्योतिस्फुरन्तं शिखिवज्ज्वलन्तं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं भज भज रे भगवन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तं हरिहरपुत्रम् अनन्तम्। धरती पर भक्तों के तुम हो उद्धारक,
साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
प्रज्ञान स्वामी का है मोक्षकारी, नष्ट करे सारे अवगुण हमारे। जितनी भी चाहे हो इच्छा हमारी, फिर भी न छोड़ा हमें बेसहारे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अहम में डूबे हम मनुष्य सारे, करते तिरस्कार प्रभु का हमारे। प्रेम से प्रभु सहते आरोप सारे, फिर भी हमें स्वामी गले लगावे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अहम सोया बिन दत्ता को ध्यावे, क्षत्रियन सोया वही मानव होवे। अंत समय में जो दत्ता पुकारे, पुत्र समान दत्ता दौड़े आवे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
छोड़े छूटे ना जो बंधन संसारी, बंधन छूटे जो पकड़े प्रीत तुम्हारी। चाहू ना धन वैभव ना मुक्ति ही प्यारी, तुमरी भक्ति स्वामी संपत्ति हमारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
यथाशक्ति यथा भक्ति चरण आरंभे, कर्म संन्यास कर प्रेम निर्धारे। कर्म फल त्याग कर भक्ति प्रमाणे, दोनों करे सो कर्मयोगी हो साबित।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अमृत वचन स्वामी का नैया है पारे, सुन ले मन तू हो जा स्वामी का प्यारे। स्वामी बिन है पैर पंगुम हमारे, स्वामी भजन हरे पीड़ा हमारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
तुम रहो दाता सदा मेरो सदा याचक, तुम रहो सदा मालिक और मैं रहूं सदा सेवक। काहू को डरना जब तुम हो मेरे रक्षक, तुम्हारी सेवा में ही जीवन मेरा सार्थक।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
मनमोहक अति सुंदर अत्यंत प्यारी, आनंदाई स्वामी छवि तुम्हारी। दर्शन मात्रे तृप्त आत्मा हमारी, दृष्टि स्वामी की है चमत्कारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
परिपूर्णतम साक्षात् परब्रह्म स्वामी, वेदों से परिवेद सार है स्वामी। अनूह्य अवतारी अचिंत्य स्वामी, मनुष्य अवतारी परब्रह्म स्वामी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्त्यवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रिये वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् भक्त्यानन्या श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि। श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि। श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि।
उद्वेगरहिता संतोषरहिता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता। शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता। शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
पाद नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते Namaste.
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామి.
Namaste.
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామీజీ.
Namaste.
పాద నమస్కారం.
Namaste.
నమస్కారం స్వామి.
Namaste.
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామి.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
స్వామీజీ.
Namaste. 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 Namaste.
నమస్కారం
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామి.
Namaste.
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామి.
Namaste. Namaste.
పాద నమస్కారం
Namaste. Namaste.
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామి.
Namaste. Namaste.
పాదనమస్కారం స్వామిజీ.
Namaste.
Is there anyone left to offer pranams to Swami?
పాద నమస్కారం స్వామీజీ.
Namaste. Namaste.